Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 14 of the Nosebleeds section podcast. My name is Nick, alongside my co-host Thomas. A lot of interesting news kind of broke, or not really news, drama, I guess you can say, because I feel the MLB this year is just full of drama. A lot of interesting MLB drama just passed a couple days ago, and honestly, I just want to jump right into it because I find it a very interesting topic. Fernando Tatis Jr., who is probably the most electric player and name in baseball at the moment, as he leads the MLB in like 5 categories. Like, he is number one in 5 categories, like stolen bases, home runs, batting average, and slugging percentage or on base percentage, something like that. He's 21 years old, I believe. 21, 22 years old. And he leads the MLB. This is his second year in the MLB. And he is just like, I mean, he was very good last year, and people thought he was going to kind of hit a wall, or kind of, when you like don't know much about someone, you don't know their like sweet spots, so you try to, like, as a pitcher, you try to strategize to pitch away from this player or pitch to a certain area of the strike zone. The same way in football, like if you see someone has a strong point, you're going to try to attack that, like attack their weak point. Very similar in like all sports. Everyone kind of thought Tatis Jr. was going to kind of plateau, and he was going to have a good year because he's a very good player, but he was going to he wasn't going to do as great as he did last year, because last year was a really, really good rookie year. I would say he's kind of surpassing expectations as he leads the MLB in so many categories for as young as he is. But that's not the drama that broke. Fernando Tatis Jr. plays for the San Diego Padres, and they were playing the Texas Rangers in a series a couple nights ago. They were up 10-3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. They're up 7 runs. Tatis Jr. is up. Bases are loaded with a 3-0 count. That next pitch, Tatis Jr. hits a grand slam of the Texas Rangers and puts the Padres up 14-3. And the Rangers coach, the Texas Rangers coach, was not happy with it at all. In his post-game interview, you can tell. Even the San Diego Padres coach, his own coach, was not happy with him. Obviously, this sparked a lot of... Everyone had an opinion about this. Before I say mine, what do you think on swinging 3-0, hitting a grand slam, and you're already up 7 runs? Do you... should he not have done it? Should he have just kind of taken the pitch or whatever? But what are your thoughts? What are your opinions?
I feel like I get why a team could be upset, but when you're up 3-0 on the pitch count and your team's just dominating, like, you guys are just having fun out there. And when he sees that pitch coming straight down the middle, like, I'm sorry, but that has to be hard not to swing at. I know he apologized, but in his head, I'm sure he's still happy he did it. I mean, to get that grand slam, keep celebrating on your team, having a great night, which, you don't score that many runs and dominate that often in the MLB. So they're just having a great time. I think it became a huge deal when it shouldn't have.
Yeah, I agree. Um, like me, like playing baseball when I was younger, a lot of it was obviously when you're younger, you're trying to, and like you're learning the game for the first time and everything. But when you like going into the game, most of my coaches were like, "Oh, it's a 3-0 count, take a pitch," because when you're younger, some of the kids just aren't as good as they will eventually be. So for a pitcher, some of them, it's not as easy to throw a strike, or they're throwing it as hard as they can and they're not as accurate. So you're taking a lot of those 3-0 pitches. And the Texas Rangers coach was like, yeah, it's like one of those like unwritten rules of baseball, which, I mean, we've talked about those kind of unwritten rules and how some of them police themselves and things like that. But in my opinion, baseball is very stat heavy, and if you're not putting up stats, you are not you could be out of a contract if you're not putting up stats. Like, for example, not that he's going to be out of a contract, but Jose Altuve is having his worst year on record yet through stat-wise. I would not consider Jose Altuve a bad player, but everyone is just talking about it, like how he's just having a very bad year. Not saying this is like the perfect time to go hit a grand slam or anything, but why not beat a team as bad as you can beat them? What is so... If and I've seen this all over Twitter, and I agree with it. If you don't want him to hit a home run, throw a better 3-0 pitch. At the same time, why are you in that? Why are you down 7 runs in the first place? I feel like that's a situation. As much as you want to be mad with him you can be mad with him for swinging all you want. You shouldn't be down 7 runs in the first place. You should be doing better hitting. You should be doing better fielding and pitching, and you shouldn't be in that position. I don't think there's anything wrong with Tatis Jr. swing 3-0 when you're up 7. For him and for the Padres, and for any team in general, I think you should try to beat teams as bad as you can beat them. Because that should put a chip on their shoulder and be like, wow, we just got smacked. We can never let that happen again. Because, like, if you're getting beat by 11 runs, something has to change. You can't have that same mentality and then just sit there and be like, oh, like, we'll get them next time. You just got smacked by 11 runs in the MLB. When it happens when you're younger, it's like, wow, that team is just better than us. In the MLB, you've gone through everything. You are the best of the best. You should not be sitting in that situation being like, oh, that's just an unwritten rule of baseball to not swing 3-0. Fernando Tatis Jr., anyone, swing 3-0. Maybe not swing for the fences because you just try to get a hit. Swing 3-0. I don't care if some team loses 27-2. Beat them as bad as you can beat them. Put a stamp on your team's name, your name, and everything to show that you are the best of the best. I mean, again, that's just my opinion. When you're growing up, I feel it's a lot different. And yeah, it is kind of an unspoken rule, like, try not to beat a team as bad as you can beat them. But again, I think the Texas Rangers coach said it. Things that used to be fully unspoken rules are being challenged in today's game. And I love it. Things like this, as much as I understand why it was kind of in place in the first place, it doesn't need to stay there, and you can't get mad at someone for swinging 3-0. When baseball is a very stat-heavy sport, you have the bases loaded, no outs. Swing for the fences. And then if you're going to get mad that a guy just hit a grand slam on you because the pitcher then threw behind Manny Machado the pitch right after. You can't throw at someone when someone hits a grand slam off you. Throw a better pitch. Don't be in that 3-0 situation in the first place. Like, I think everyone went at Fernando Tatis Jr. first instead of looking at the bigger problem, which was the Texas Rangers playing that night. They didn't play well enough. And they're getting mad that someone hit a grand slam against them. Yeah, they were up by a lot, but what does it matter? Why are you down 7 runs? Why are you at a bases loaded 3-0 count in the first place? You're talking about being down 7 runs. What do you want to do? Just, like, and again, one thing I saw, for pitchers, it's all mind games, right? If he takes that pitch and it's a strike, it's now a 3-1 count. Now that pitcher can throw a setup pitch. They're MLB pitchers. They can paint corners and stuff. Like, they're good enough to do that. So now he's got a setup pitch. I mean, now it becomes 3-2, and now it's a much different count. Keep swinging 3-0. There's no reason to not swing 3-0. Unless it's like a really terrible pitch, I wouldn't swing 3-0. But I don't think Fernando Tatis Jr. did anything wrong. And I think the Texas Rangers need to look at themselves and be like, why were we down 7 runs? Why were the bases loaded at this time? Something for Texas Rangers, I guess, to consider. But also, the NBA playoffs have started. Both number 1 seeds, the Bucks and the Lakers, are both down 1-0 in series. The Bucks are playing I don't know who they're playing. Why did I just blank on that? The Magic. I do think the Magic are a pretty decent team. I don't think they're bad at all. I think they probably could have gotten a higher seed, to be honest. The Lakers are playing the Trailblazers, which I don't think is a 8 seed at all in the West. They are a 5, 6, or 7 seed, maybe even a 4 seed. They struggled with a lot of injuries this year. A lot of injuries. Nurkic I don't think he played majority of the year, right? Like, he was out. I'm
Right.
pretty sure C.J. McCollum was hurt for a bit. Damian Lillard was hurt for a bit. After that, uh, uh like the first week, Zach Collins got hurt. I don't know if Melo was, but like they were not a very strong team throughout the year, and they struggled. They didn't have. I mean, it's always good to have a good center coming off the bench, but now you're just expanding Hassan Whiteside's minutes, and you don't have a backup center. So Nurkic or Hassan Whiteside's playing so many minutes, and you don't have a good enough center to give him a backup. Now I think with Nurkic back, the Blazers have a really good two centers. Again, you're not really subbing out Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum much, but you have another scorer in Melo. Zach Collins comes back. You have that defensive like prowess. The Blazers are not really an 8 seed. I do think the Lakers should still take this series, but the Blazers are not an 8 seed. Again, I think they're a 5, 6, 7 seed that just got really unlucky. Like the Grizzlies, let's be honest. As much as the Grizzlies did have the 8 seed, that's a team that's fighting for that 8 seed. Maybe the Mavs are there after this year because they didn't play that great during the regular season. The Spurs are normally up there. Like, again, these are the West is way more competitive for playoff spots in my opinion than the East because I don't know if the Magic can maybe hang with some of the 4 or 5 in the West on a consistent basis. They might be able to take a game or two, but I don't think they're gonna win a series. But again, they're up 1-0 over the Bucks. The Bucks played terrible. Give me your thoughts on these two games. What do you think? It was just they played really terrible, or did the 8 seeds step up to where they should be?
Well, if you look at the Trailblazers, and I think we talked about in the last episode, any of those teams, the Grizzlies, the Suns, the Trailblazers, they've been playing playoff basketball since they arrived at the bubble, where some of these teams were kind of using these as the seeding games as preseason games. So now you go into an actual playoff atmosphere, and no disrespect to the Lakers, but the Trailblazers are the better team at this point. They're playing the better basketball. They're used to playing with each other already. So the fact that they won, it's not. I don't find it that big of a surprise, especially when it's a close game at the end of the game. The Trailblazers have done it throughout the bubble already, and know how to win those games consistently. The Lakers, if they're losing by 10, it's usually their backups in who are playing, and they're just going to get blown out. So I don't know if I'm the Lakers coach or anything, I'm a little nervous to be honest, because Damian Lillard is destroying the NBA currently. We're down 1-0 to him in the series already, and we Anthony Davis and LeBron James did not look great. I mean, Anthony Davis had 21 points in the first half, and he had 6 points in the second half entirely. He got shut down by, like we said, the Trailblazers do have two great big men, and they have Zach Collins playing power forward, so they have someone to cover AD. But LeBron, the, they have Melo to guard him. That's really it. They don't have many small forwards on the roster, so I don't know. I feel like this might be somewhat worrisome. I mean, I know it's only one game. We'll see what happens tonight. But for the Bucks, they also have not played well throughout the bubble, and they were playing their starters. Giannis, I mean, he tried to carry the team throughout the seeding games as much as possible, and he still is trying to carry them right now. But someone else on that team has to step up
Yeah, it's been a poor
badly.
performance from the Bucks. Like I still think the Bucks have a very good team, and I feel like most of those players are very underrated because you look at the Bucks and, as you said, Giannis is just going to carry them. I do think that's the case in the bubble, not so much the case during the regular season because I think they have a lot of players that can score, like Malcolm Brogdon. Oh my
He's on
God,
the
he
Pacers
is.
now.
Man, I am dumb. I said the wrong name. I can't. Why can't I think of it? Yeah,
Chris
Middleton.
Middleton.
They have Bledsoe. Like they have like very good players. Like they don't through top to bottom of that team. Although they have Giannis, I think they are very they're at the number one seed for a reason. They have a good bench. They have a very good starting five. They're just struggling a lot during the bubble, and I really don't know why. They had, I think, like 16 losses just throughout the regular season, maybe even less. Maybe even less. They're just not playing well. For the Lakers, it's only one game. I don't think there's too much to like worry about or anything like that. Because again, like I don't know how the Blazers really stop LeBron or stop AD. AD does have to shoot way better because he shot terribly in game one. For them, it's really just, can you stop Damian Lillard? He's in he's
I
insane
think
right now,
anyone
and
can.
he's yeah, any
He's pulling
space you
up from
give him,
50 feet.
he's taking it, and he's punishing you. I don't think
Yeah.
I do think the Lakers will end up taking the series, but again, can you stop Damian Lillard? I don't know, and even the Mavs are going up really well against the Clippers. That series is 1-1. The Clippers
That's a
are
good series.
struggling to guard both Porzingis and Luka. It's like they're really struggling. It's not even like close. Uh,
The Clippers are in the same boat as the Lakers, in my opinion. The way I look at it is they have not played their starters the way they should have during the bubble, and it's showing in these playoff games.
yeah.
That first game, if Porzingis didn't get ejected, I guarantee you that game would at least have been
Oh,
coming down
probably,
to a buzzer beater shot. If
probably. Again,
if
they
not the
haven't figured
Mavs
out how to
winning.
guard Porzingis and Luka, so that they don't know what to do. And then on the opposite side, as like your point
Yeah,
that they haven't played their starters, the Bucks who have played their starters are really struggling. I do think the
yeah,
Magic are a much better team than they're given credit for. Because I feel like they just go under everyone's radar. Like, no one really thinks of them as like a decent team. I think Markel Fultz has kind of found his groove in Orlando. He's not this prolific scorer, but he's kind of found his groove, like where he's going to be. Aaron Gordon has picked up his scoring a lot this year. He's been a very good player for them. Fournier, like they have like a really good core of players around them, and no one really cares about them. They just kind of expect. Let's be real. I think everyone expected the Bucks to beat them 4-0. So the fact that they took a
yeah.
game was like, wow, like that's shocking. Maybe they don't take it. Yeah,
Especially with
maybe
Aaron
they don't
Gordon
take
being
another
out.
game. Maybe it's 4-1. But I mean, I think the Magic are kind of putting themselves out there as like, yeah, we can compete, and then maybe the Magic go for a higher seed next year. So the league is gonna be, in my opinion, especially the East is gonna be way different next year. The Nets, who had Kyrie all year, they don't have Kyrie in the bubble. Also get KD, probably one of the best scorers in basketball history. Like straight up scores. I'm not talking about best player or anything. I just mean like scoring wise. Like I don't think anyone can agree or disagree. Like Kevin Durant is probably one of the best scorers ever to play in the NBA. They have a
Yeah,
like. I mean, you would just put the two of those players together. I would say they're a very good team. I mean, they still have to compete with the Bucks, the Celtics, the Raptors, but that's a top four team. I think the Magic can go up there and get a 5 seed, easy. I don't think there's anyone that's like crazy ahead of them that is like so out of reach that they can't like come near, if that makes any sense. But that game two of the all game twos will be finished tonight, Thursday, when this comes out. They will all be finished, and we'll kind of see how, because maybe both one seeds lose again, and maybe it's 2-0 to the Trailblazers and the Magic. I think that would be interesting, because then it really puts light on can these teams clutch up. Also, just I don't know, gonna be very interesting to kind of see. But also happening tonight at 8:30 after the Bucks game is the draft lottery for the NBA for next year. The Warriors, the Cavs, and the Timberwolves have the best odds to get the number one pick. Um, then coming down, you got the Hawks, Pistons, Knicks, Bulls, Hornets, Wizards, and the Suns rounding out the top 10. Is this draft extremely crucial to get a high pick? Because there is no combine, there's no March Madness, there's nothing. You have absolutely no idea what this if these players are good enough. James Wiseman, phenomenal player. Everyone kind of was like, yeah, he's gonna be the first pick. Does he get taken number one overall? He might get taken number one, and he's again, as I've said multiple times, he might not be fully NBA ready. You have someone who hasn't gone through a combine, someone who hasn't even played against like playing in March Madness is extremely helpful. It shows pressure. But when you get to the combine, you're playing 5-on-5 against everyone else who's like, I want to improve my draft stock. Bit different. Again, not the same pressure at all. Like not at all. It's not even close. But now everyone you go against is like, I got to show like I can play defense against this guy, or I got to show that I can score against this guy. Much different kind of look on it, I guess you can say. But is it crucial for a team like the Knicks, who don't have that high of a chance to get a higher pick? Is it crucial for them to get a higher pick? Is it crucial for them to make sure that they get in that 1, 2, or 3 to get like a player like LaMelo Ball that they want?
I feel like it is, especially in this draft. I feel like in past drafts, especially over the last few years, the draft's usually stacked within at least the first 5 or 6 players, in my opinion. Where this year, I don't want to discredit anybody, even if March Madness happened, the draft combine still happened. There's not too many names in this draft that have been hyped up like previous years. So I feel like if you don't have, it almost seems like a top 3 pick. I don't really know if you're gonna get a guarantee or not. I wouldn't even say guaranteed superstar because sometimes they're bust, but a high chance of a superstar. Obviously, some players could develop and it could be one of the best drafts. Like we don't know, but based off like name wise and based off college or overseas performance, there doesn't seem to be that many great players in this draft.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I wouldn't say it's a very talent heavy draft, but at the same time, you haven't seen anyone. Someone might surprise you more than another because maybe they're, I don't know, younger on their college team, or they're coming from overseas and you don't know exactly what they're like. Like, for example, like Luka. Everyone thought Luka was going to be really good. I don't think anyone really thought Luka was going to be as good as he is. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like everyone was
so
like, yeah, this
quickly.
is like an extremely good player. He was extremely young. Everyone was like, yeah, like he's good. Like no one was denying that he wasn't good. But he's turning into someone in within the next 2-3 years could be an MVP. Maybe someone else comes in like that. There's a lot of like names that could possibly be there. Like Topin from Dayton. I think it's power forward center. I think he can be someone who would have like surprised through the college season. Obviously didn't get to play his college season. Someone who could have been pretty good. This is a draft where no one knows exactly what you're getting. So someone with the Knicks who have that lower chance to get a higher seed, maybe they end up with like the 9 pick. But maybe that 9 pick, without anyone really knowing what they might be able to do, ends up becoming an absolute stud and helps that Knicks organization, along with RJ Barrett, get out of the slump that they're in. You never know. Because again, you have absolutely no idea what you're getting. You have a little
Exactly.
idea from what you've seen over a year ago, really. This time last year, or no, well, a little less than a year ago. But you had an idea through 6 games what someone might do. And those first 6 games are not conference games. Those first 6 games are just kind of, oh, can we play someone out of conference that is maybe a challenge or maybe easy to get us some wins? You have absolutely no idea. Like those rankings, especially this year, like how many times did the number one team in the nation, like a Duke or a UNC, have the number one seed and then lose it? I think it happened 4 or 5 times before like the season like was obviously called off. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the lottery goes and to see who gets that higher pick because I don't think many teams were punished through this. Like the Suns, for example, they are higher than the Spurs for a chance. They finished ahead of the Spurs, which is, well, interesting to say the least. But like the Suns have a higher chance to go up to like they're going to be in the lottery, but they have a really good chance to go to like a 4 or 5 pick than the Spurs who finished below them, than the Pelicans who finished below them. And then you have like a team like the Knicks who might need that higher pick, but at the same time, that higher pick might turn out to be terrible because you're gonna base it off of what you last saw, which is James James Wiseman or Melo Ball. They might both be players that are complete busts, and then you might get someone who no one really thought of, like a Trey Jones, who in the NBA might be that like point guard that a team really needs. I could see him being like a Ricky Rubio. You don't really know what you're gonna get, which for some of these teams is really concerning. When you're the Knicks and everything you do is scrutinized, it's kind of hard to do anything right in this situation. Because
I just can't get over the fact that still the team that has the highest chance to get the number one pick is a team that still has three All Stars on it.
yeah,
Like, oh my god! Like I know they had the terrible season, but
I mean
still,
yeah, but like
whoa.
it's not like they did anything wrong. I mean they just had a terrible year. Like
No,
they
yeah,
well,
not
yeah,
blaming
I
them.
mean
It's just crazy to
injuries
think
like
about.
Clay was hurt, Curry was hurt. The only one that was completely healthy was Draymond, and I'm pretty sure he missed a good amount of games as well.
Yeah,
So I don't think there was
yeah.
any. Nothing was helping them in this situation. It just wasn't going well. Yeah, like at all. It was bad. But I don't know. Hopefully it changes up a bit. The MLS is starting again. They are starting their 6 game series before winter, I believe, or before November maybe. And after that, the season is going to pick up hopefully in phase 3, and they can start allowing some fans in. I think they are going to. The MLB still having some corona cases with the Pirates. I don't know if that is completely gone. As more news, also Alex Smith has started practicing with pads on, which we did talk about last episode. He has finally started practicing with
Mm-hmm.
pads on. Happy for him. Hard Knocks is still coming out. Other than that, not much else has broke. As things break, we'll continue to talk about them, give our opinions, and see what we think. Make sure you tune into the NBA playoffs. Maybe leave us a like, comment on what you think of the playoffs. Follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much for tuning in. Comes out every Monday and Thursday, and we'll see you.